Yeah, man, we're doing the we're gonna have a really fun time here. We're doing a top 5. It's gonna be awesome. The top 5 best finishing moves of all time. This is a very controversial one. I feel like this is going to be debated quite a bit on the social medias. So I'm excited to get into it, though. And since Mr. Jesse missed a week, we're going to let you kick it off here. Give me your number 5 greatest finishing move of all time.
Number 5. It's going to sound like I'm calling out a sports move or something, but number 5, and I'm going a la Stan Hansen, Bradshaw, so on and so forth, the lariat.
The lariato.
Yeah.
Okay. But you mean like delivered a specific way?
Yeah. The strong way where you hit the motherfucker in the face.
Yeah.
Like it literally just fucking lay him out.
Yeah.
To be honest, if you watch a bar fight and either one of those guys try to lay in something where they hit you with their bicep right the fuck in your face, like that's going to be something that knocks you the fuck out. It's very believable. It's very real. There's really no way to fucking undo it. Bradshaw's for the long time clothesline from hell or whatever, but I really like that finisher. That's my number 5.
Awesome. I'm honestly like, I'm not mad at that. That makes sense to me. It's a different approach than I'm taking. Wex, what's your number 5 greatest finishing move of all time?
Coming in at number 5 for Wex breaking the Lawson is the red arrow, or AKA the black arrow, done by Pac, which is a corkscrew shooting star press, which is just, it's fucking like ridiculous. Like how the fuck, like I just can't understand how someone can make their body do that so perfectly, so great. He does it so smooth. And he's like one of 3 people who actually does that move, and he executes it the best. And it's just, I love Jushin Liger, and it's just the next elevation of the shooting star press, and it just looks so fucking cool. I love it.
That's a good one. That's a lot more. So I feel like so far we're going. Jesse's got this whole like athletic realism vibe. Wex has the like super impressive vibe, which is also cool. I'm gonna go, which I think is to be like an innovation vibe. And to me, I still think to this day, one of the most unique but believable finishes, and unique in the way you take the bump, is the pedigree. I think that's like, it's been around since like the 70s and it's evolved. But I think that Triple H's like 97 pedigree, like where he kept the underhook the whole time. You flat face bump, you go straight on your knees. Like that's a very cool finish that you can give to anyone. Like now, when you do it to the Big Show, you're gonna have to let go halfway through your jump and like kind of back off and just let him take a face bump, and that's fine though. It still works. It's still the same idea is still delivered mechanically, and I think that like it's a move that even if you don't know who Triple H is, but you know what I mean. Like you're such a casual, like wrestling's part of pop culture, and so you kind of know about it. Like I feel like people know that move more than they even know Triple H, if that makes sense.
And I love that version where he spiked the dude on his head.
Oh, that
was fucking damn it, that was hilarious because he wasn't supposed to take it like that, and he did.
Great bump though. Great.
Yeah, it's great. He got fucked up. I love that.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like somebody like Joey Janela could pull that off in a working manner and make it look like that though. You know.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's my number 5. Jesse, where's your number 4?
I will say the pedigree was my alternate.
Oh my God. Wow.
Like that, so
my bad.
Like that was basically, I guess, my number 6 for whatever it's worth. My number 4 is the Kata Hajime, a.k.a. the Taz Mission, a.k.a. the hook hold.
Okay. Yeah.
I absolutely love it because it's practical in real life. It's believable. Taz, to the best of my recollection, was the first person to have a hold that actually made someone in professional wrestling have to tap out.
Yeah.
And
I mean, yeah, I think so too.
The tap out thing.
I put a kid in it once. It works.
Oh yeah, it works. 110% works. But he made people have to tap out. That didn't exist before that. Before that, otherwise, it was like, I quit, or they yelled, whatever the fuck.
Was it ref would call it.
I feel like in the mainstream, people would say it was Ken Shamrock. in like the mainstream. But I do,
Yeah,
I
mean,
think you're
Taz
right
started
though.
this before that. In the mainstream, yes,
In
100.
WWF, it was Ken
On
Shamrock.
WWF, it was Ken Shamrock there, that most dangerous man in the world. He had them their ankle lock man, and they was just tapping out to it, brother.
Sure, but where'd they get it?
No, I agree. Yeah, I agree. I think you're probably
Got
right.
it from the
Legit
UFC,
judo.
bro. What do you mean? Where did he get it?
Like, yeah. I mean, it is what it is. I'm just saying. My number 4 is the Kata Hajime. It does work. As a person that works at a bar, I've separated many a fight with that exact hold on my own. Therefore, that's my number 4, Wexley.
All right, coming in at number 4 for me, as one of the most brutal, most devastating finishers anybody can take, and that's the specific Kenta Kobashi Burning Hammer. Only ever used it 7 times, but those 7 times were just fucking brutal as hell. And it's just and it's like an ultimate finisher. It's like you do your regular finisher, and if that's not enough, so you gotta like break the glass for emergency only. Boom, drop them on their fucking head. And honestly, you could talk about finishers from any of the 4 pillars because they all did some head dropping shit. But the Burning Hammer is my favorite out of all those, and it's just a gnarly ass finisher. Other people have done versions of it, and the F5?
Yeah.
That's sort of a version of it in a way, but Tyler Rex used to do it, if you remember that dude who was back in WWE back in the day. Just random people have done it, but no one does it like Kobashi because you don't want to kill people, you know?
Yeah. So fun fact is when I was in my independent wrestling tag team, that like the double Burning Hammer, that was our finish.
Okay. Did y'all do it? I'm sure y'all didn't do it the gnarly way. You probably did the
No, we did it the gnarly way. But there's 2 of us, so you could really, you could make it look really gnarly and still protect. Because we have arms locked, so we're keeping his head.
Oh, so so it's not just one guy,
But his body still crumbles, so it still looks like we literally dropped him on his skull. You know, like.
Thanks, Daniel, for spoiling my number 3 finisher. Jesus.
Oh, my bad, man. My bad. My bad. Well, speaking of letting you guys down, I think I'm going to go ahead and get to my number 4. My number 4 here, and this might be a fanboy thing to say, but I think it's an innovative move. I thought it was cool from the first time I saw it, and I like every inception of it, and it's the Crossroads. I think it's one of the coolest finishing moves of all time. I like the momentum in it. To me, you can kind of pull it off with anybody. Anybody athletic, at least slightly athletic, and I think it kind of speaks for itself. I thought it was innovative at a time when there was a lot of moves that were trying to be invented that were not cool at all. Like I can think of like Elix Skipper and like MVP's finish where they put their like head on the back of the neck, like holding the arm and like do like a leg neck breaker thing. And it's like, that's the worst. And you know what I mean? Like, it's just stupid moves around that early 2000s era. And I feel like that one was super cool. It stood the test of time, and it like certain people take it like crazy, and I think it's an awesome move. So it's my number 4. Jesse, where you at?
Number 4. So my number 3, Numero Trace, is actually the fucking figure 4.
Oh, okay. So another submission.
It just happens to be one of those things that's so telling. And if you're telling a really great story, you engage yourself in a figure 4 leg lock. The entirety of it, yes, we know what it means. Yes, we all know how to do it. We all tried to figure that out. And that's one of the indications of a really great finisher to me. I'm pretty sure the 3 of us have all, at some point in time, established exactly how to establish a figure 4 leg lock in real life.
Of course.
Am I wrong? Yeah,
no,
of course.
You're absolutely correct.
We also know that when we roll it over, it turns out actually doesn't hurt.
No, it reverses it, dude. It reverses the pressure. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Well, I know the name of the podcast, but we don't keep kayfabe here. But it's like the stories, just the whole back and forth, the discourse, the entire thing. Like, there's something about those stories, and I look back to Dusty and Rick. I look back to Harley and Rick. I look back on those matches and see how fucking intense when you knew that that's what was happening. You knew, not that it was done, but you knew that that was a very telling denouement point in the match. And like, I don't know, there's something about that that's very, again, I did Shakespeare as a kid. I'm a fucking theater guy. Happens that way.
Love it.
Number 3, figure 4.
That's solid. I'm not mad at that. I mean, I feel like everybody's list is good, and we're only whittling it down to 5 a piece. So like, I feel like none of them have been bad thus far. So I'm not mad at anybody. Wex, where you at, man?
Coming in at number 3 is probably one of the most protected modern finishers going around in pro wrestling today, and that's the One-Winged Angel, Kenny Omega, that Final Fantasy VII tip. And that's just it's a sick, devastating, gnarly move. Like, Kota Ibushi's the only person to ever kick out of it, I think.
Yeah, I think so too.
And that's it. And it's just a sick move. Like, and you can really do it on anybody unless they're like, probably couldn't do it on the big show, but most people you can do it on as long as you can get them up. And Kenny's pretty strong with that. I really don't know anybody. I mean, Chris Sabin kind of had a version of it, didn't he?
Yeah.
So the cradle shock was different. He did fireman's carry into a cradle.
Yeah.
This one, and Omega goes electric chair
it's
into
an electric
cradle.
Chair into a one-arm fucking scenario. But yeah,
it's like a cradle bomb.
It's similar. Yeah.
And I even like sometimes when he sets up, he goes for the he goes into the electric chair and then transfers to the German suplex, the Kreutz Wrath. But the One-Winged Angel, that's just a fucking sick ass finisher. I've loved it for years. I don't know. I mean, you guys know Kenny Omega. It's fucking sick.
I don't know who that is.
I've never
Kenny
heard of
Omega. That's how I picture William Regal saying his name whenever he comes back.
Kenny Omega.
Kenny Omega.
When he's the Blackpool Combat Club now that they're separated.
So I'm going with this move here, and I feel like this is the reason why I'm at my number 3 position. I'm giving this move the nod mostly because like ever since I saw it, I've used it like in Creator Wrestler. Like it's like that's my finish. Like, and I love it. So, and only a few people actually did it this way, but so when Drew McIntyre first came in, he had the original Future Shock DDT. You remember that one?
Yeah.
So it's like a double underhook, but like you swing your leg, and sometimes it was just that was it. It was just swing a leg and plant. But the best one is when he swings his leg and then comes up to almost like straddling the guy, and so it looks like it's like this massive like bump, and the guy bumps on his face and comes up and then lands again, like it's almost like a bounce. So it looks like his head just let you just drive all of your body weight into this DDT. I love that move. I think it's like really, really good when it's done well. I know why he changed, because it's like not everybody can do it that way. Like not everybody can take the bump that way. But when they do, to me, that's like honestly would have been number 1 if everybody took it the same way. But
I wish that we could do our WWE 2K22 characters all at the same time right now, because to be honest, that is my main finisher.
Yeah, that's my main one.
I sometimes go for the Fisherman Buster.
The Fisherman Buster's solid too. Yeah, that's a good one too. It's
Or
not on
the
my list at
Fisherman
all.
Driver. I like any variations of that Fisherman suplex on the video games. It just looks cool.
I mean, in real life though, the Future Shock DDT and that original Chosen one, like when Drew McIntyre first came in, I was yeah, this guy's gonna work. Like I was like, I get it.
Yeah, that old theme song.
Like, he was a good wrestler, and like and that finish, like in the beginning, it's almost like what the Lion Tamer used to be. It's like we could talk about it now, and it's like, oh, it's the Boston Crab, but it's like the Future Shock DDT became pretty much just Mick Foley's, double arm DDT. But like in the beginning, it was badass, and it got watered down. But in the beginning, it was badass, and like that's bronze medal. Love that move. Really cool. Yeah. Where we at? We at silver here now?
I think we are. I think we're at silver, and I think we're on.
Sheesh. All right.
I'm gonna be a little bit of a dick about this one, but my silver is a power bomb.
No problem with that. No problem.
Any specific version or just all variations?
A la Vader.
Oh, okay.
If you look at Vader's power bomb, that motherfucker crushes every single fucking time. Like that's one of those things where when I try to explain to people how wrestling isn't the F word, and I say, look at this, they're like, shit. They don't do that with Sid. They don't do it with Nash. They don't do that with anybody. They do it with Vader.
Yeah.
and they definitely don't do the small guys. So like,
Yeah.
Vader's powerbomb was completely different. He didn't throw motherfuckers down. He put motherfuckers.
He drove them down.
He
drive all the way down. Yeah.
You want to talk about a tough guy? I know his gear was smelly and everybody hated him for it or whatever the fuck, but at the same time, like that motherfucker was one of the toughest guys on the face of the goddamn planet. And it turns out that he could literally pick them up and put them where they needed to be.
Yeah.
Hey, I like when he choked up that reporter in Kuwait. That was good.
Yeah, you know, I mean, I love how.
And that's actually a
it's
safer
not
power
the
bomb.
champion.
Like
So,
that's a safer power bomb to take.
yeah.
If he wants to take care of you. But it is actually safer to drive somebody in than it is to drop them from up high. Like that's the thing too, is like people talk shit about Nash's power bomb because it was kind of ugly. But honestly, that one probably hurt the most. Because he is almost 7 feet tall, and he just like literally picks you up and then walks away. And then like he just picks you up and just walks away and lets you fall. And it's
That's
like
why
however you take the bump is how you take the bump.
Take it a
Like
second time. He was like, I'm never gonna do that again.
yeah.
Like I'm not working with that guy because I'm never gonna fucking do that again.
Yeah.
Didn't like how he threw me. I didn't like that, so on and so forth. It is what it is. I love Kevin Nash. Also, shout
Same.
out to the Click podcast.
Yep. Love
Like
it.
fucking rules already. But for me, the Vader powerbomb is the powerbomb. Anything else is kind of you just flip somebody upside down. Whatever.
I disagree. The Liger bomb is pretty impactful. He drives down and then is a sit-out power bomb. But
Yeah, those
I'll
are little
digress.
guys though. Like you have a big guy that fucking picks you up, flips you upside down, and fucking throws you on your shit to the point that they drive you the fuck down. It's one thing.
and
It's
Keith Lee
like-
does like he's a big guy. Does a version of the sit-out where he drives you.
He sure does. He's about to not wrestle after I don't know what 12 months. You think he has a year?
Maybe another year.
Keith Lee?
Yeah,
Is he hurt?
he's
I don't
just
know.
tired.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay. I don't know. Whatever.
what's your silver place here, Wex?
My silver, it was hard. My number one and my number two, I kept flipping them back and forth, and I kept going. But number two is a Stone Cold Stunner, as you can see behind me.
Two.
And it's I mean, what more can I say? Stone Cold is the most badass motherfucker ever, and the Stunner, which is very different from the it's not a cutter. It's not a cutter at all because people always try to, oh, he's doing like it's not a fucking cutter. It's its whole fucking different move, and Stone Cold perfected it. And The Rock takes the best bump of all besides Scott Hall. Scott Hall did that one good one, but consistently The Rock,
Which
best
good
stunner
one.
bumper.
The
Best
one at
stunner
18
bumper
was
ever.
great.
What?
The one at 18 was great.
Oh yeah, that's pretty sick.
It's like literally down flat back, like the.
But he's like, dude, he got like 10 feet in the air.
No, he could have. Dude, Scott Hall literally could have just leaped over the top rope with that one. Like that,
Yeah,
that
he
was
really
fucking
could.
great. Yeah, but Stunner, dude, it's classic. Kick him in the gut, Stone Cold. Like, dude, I grew up on that goddamn shit.
Yeah.
It's just like, how many times have you stunnered your friends?
Oh, several. I mean, God.
Millions of times. I've stunnered everybody. And it's
Millions
just like,
of times. Yeah.
it's just such an iconic move. Even when Stone Cold botched Byron Saxton and kicked him in the nuts and stunnered him, it was great. Like, such a good move.
Was it a botch or was it intentional?
Whether or not, it was great.
It's probably fucking intentional.
But
And
probably.
also, such as innovated by the very recently released John Laurinaitis.
Yeah.
But
That's
if we're going to give the true credit, Mikey Whipwreck, the whippersnapper, is truly where the inspiration for the stunner came from.
Yep.
Got to give credit where it's due there. But yeah, number two coming in for me, the goddamn Stone Cold Stunner. And shout out to KO. He has a pretty good one.
Yeah, he does. He does have a good stunner. It's not a finish though, which is a problem. He shouldn't do it if it's not gonna be the finish. So, I'm just gonna say that. Number two for me is the longevity of this move and like the innovator that did it. I mean, it was the first time I'd ever seen it. I don't know if it had been done in Japan before or not. But the fact that he's still going with it and it's still like probably one of the most impactful moves is the F5. I mean, the F5 is number two greatest finishing move of all time. I mean, it's like, and at this point, like when we're getting to number one, number two, number three, there's no wrong answer for any of those. Like, but I think to me, like this one's, I mean, it's been 20 years and I feel like it's still just as big of a pop now as it was 20 years ago. And there was a time where the stunner had a lull and it wasn't as big of a pop as it once was. Whereas I feel like the F5 never had a lull. Like granted, Brock went away and like did UFC or whatever after that, but like, I mean, it's just he's been back for longer than he was even in the first time, and it's yeah, I think the F5 has got to be on that pantheon of greatest finishing moves of all time, especially for the guy that does it. I only think that he could really pull it off the way it's pulled off too, which makes a big difference. So yeah, F5 for me, number 2 greatest move of all time. Jesse, where you at?
I already said my number 2. We're going to number 1s.
Yep, it's time for the number 1, baby.
The numero unos. Speaking of which, numero uno.
He won.
City, number 1. Ichiban, number 1. Mr. Jaden Newman won the Scenic City Invitational. He's the crowned Scenic City champion. We had him on our podcast. You can look at it at the archives. Fantastic. Rules. I wish I was there. Couldn't have been. But number 1. Y'all going to be weird at me for this one. DDT.
DDT?
Ooh.
Absolutely. A la Jake Roberts. I love the idea that is a finish. And this is why I get so pissed when people use it as a spot. Like, that's a fucking... If you get to the point and you do the psychology right, it's a finish.
Yeah.
And especially, look at Raven. Raven did a great one.
Raven did a great one for sure.
Between those two, Arn also did a great one. Like, you look at those things, front face life fall down. It was a move that was invented accidentally because Jake was fucked up. He's talked about that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I'm sorry, but if I'm looking at a dude, if I'm fighting them, let's just say, hypothetically, we're pretending this is a real fight. I grab his head and fucking drive it into whatever surface we happen to be fighting on. You're done.
Yeah.
It's over. So I love that move. So to me, number 1, DDT needs to be done right. Wexley, numero uno.
Numero uno. I will say I do like the DDT too. I like all the variations of it. It's a very nice move. But number 1 for me is also kind of like for you. It's a move that is a finish, but people like to overuse it in the middle of matches. But I still don't give a fuck. And you guys probably know what it is.
I do. Absolutely.
Tuning up the goddamn band, and I'm going to go for the full official name, the Sweet Chin Music, Shawn Michaels, HBK, invented by gentleman
Chris Adams.
Chris Adams, yeah, who trained Stone Cold, who Stone Cold later took his wife crazy. But, yeah, the super kick, dude, the Young Bucks, Shawn Michaels, dude, and that's like one of the reasons like why I like the Young Bucks and kind of like got hardcore back into wrestling. I was like, dude, it's 2 Shawn Michaels, it's the Rockers, it's DX, but super kicks, dude. Like I've been doing super kicks.
2 Shawns.
Yeah, 2 Shawns. I've been doing super kicks in the air or at my friends or at my dog or at everybody ever since I can remember. Like, just slap the leg. You can go on our YouTube channel. Me dressed as a luchador, super kick Jesus, perfect execution. Go watch it. I mean,
perfect execution.
Here's why it's not a finisher.
And you got to have that leg slap. You got to have that leg slap. Without the leg, like that's the thing. Without the leg slap, it's just a kick. Like that makes it the super kick. The fucking Sweet Chin Music.
I mean,
so sick.
I mean, there were
you don't have to have the leg slap. I'm just saying that adds the extra theatrics. I have to do the leg slap. If I'm just kicking without the leg slap, it looks like I'm just doing some weird shit. But if you hear the leg slap, you know I'm doing the fucking super kick.
Yeah, I mean it's a great move.
It's so good. Anybody can do it.
Anybody can do it. That's the problem. And I love Shawn. I mean, Shawn's my guy. Like, and I love Shawn's Sweet Chin Music. I think that's arguably one of the greatest like finishes of all time, but not as a move. Like, I think it's like because it's done by him. Does that make sense? Like,
sort of. But I like the Young Bucks just as much doing it. I love the super kick party. Like,
it's not a finish. It's a spot. That's not a finish.
The super kick party has finished many opponents. I don't know if you know that, but
yeah, but Daniel's right. It's a spot. It's not a finish. With Shawn...
No, I'm right. It's the best fucking move in wrestling. I don't care.
With Shawn, it geared up. And here's why. You got everybody knowing immediately what he was going to do way the fuck before he did it. That's why it's a finish.
Yeah. It's a finish with Shawn for sure. Okay, my number one of all time is the Styles Clash, man. I think AJ Styles and the Styles Clash, I think it's one of the most innovative finishes of all time. I think that he's done different variations of it, and I don't think anybody else can pull it off or will pull it off as well as he does.
Broken a
Or,
lot of necks.
I mean, he hasn't.
Only one, and in
And that was that dude's fault, 1,000%.
yeah, and then even Jericho was like, dude, we need to use this move. It's going to be fine. And then
Yeah.
like ghosted it by Vince, which I don't know. Maybe Vince paid him $5 million. I don't know. But
Rest in peace, Yoshitatsu's neck.
Well, I mean, you know what, dude? Like, watch the guy at art. I don't know, man. It's really not that difficult to. At that point, you're like already under his legs. Like all
You
you
ever
got
seen
to
the
do
one
is.
Frankie Kazarian didn't tuck
It's
his
not
neck
hard to take,
and
by
it
the way.
didn't break his neck, but it looked like it did?
Like that's the thing about that move is it's not hard to take. It's not a hard move to
it's
take.
not. It's
really
a fucking
not. It's
DDT
actually
bump.
very,
It's
very
pancake.
easy
You
to take.
pancake. You're fine.
I understand. It's just that instinct wrestling, tuck your neck. Like,
Yes. Or it's like, dude, you're like you have your arms are behind his legs. Like the instinct to tuck your head at that point is like your instinct should be a flat back, and it's kind of what you're taking. It's just a front bump. Like you pan like a flat back, and you're gonna be fine. Like
you
that's
pancake like a DDT. You literally sideways face, spread out, good to go. No big deal. It doesn't suck.
it's a great move. It's a great move. I think only AJ could do it, and I feel like people are gonna shit on me for this, but I don't care. I love Styles Clash. I think it's a great move.
didn't Michelle
Um,
McCool do it?
Poorly, yeah.
Yeah, really poorly.
Yeah.
Watch those again.
Crash Holly tried to do it too. I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like people have
Hey,
tried it.
I like the
people,
Styles Clash, though. One of the best Styles Clashes was like this in Ring of Honor. It was like a trios match, the Young Bucks and AJ Styles, and it was like this triple mega kill over super kick Styles Clash with Ricochet to win the match, and that's one of my favorite ones ever. And then, of course, the top rope, the Avalanche, which is fucking brutal.
Yeah. Yeah, man. I mean, those. I mean, I feel like to me, the Styles Clash was something that I saw in person a lot in the beginning, in like the Asylum days or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
And so for me, it was just such an innovative finish, and seeing that I remember like, and there was that weird WWE like when he first came in, like was he going to use it? He hadn't been using it. He was only using like the forearm, and then
Yeah.
when he started using it, it was like a big deal again. And I was like, man, this move is just the shit. And I also feel like there are very few people, if anybody else, that can really pull that move off well. You know what I mean? So to me, I don't know. Yeah, for me, I love AJ. Love that move. I think Sweet Chin Music is great, but didn't even make my list just because like the move itself is so generic now. Like same thing with the DDT. Again, I'm not saying they should be.
I just love it. I could.
No, I agree.
I don't care if it was on Fox News tomorrow. I would still do it.
That's fair. I mean, I guess that's fair. I guess that's
If I
fair.
could
We
choose
all had
a
our
feature
reasons.
for myself, it would be a really well executed DDT. Like, but it's so simple. All
Yeah.
you have to do is make sure that somebody's fucking lined up and it hits
Yeah.
the point where it's like, you're done now. Like,
Yeah.
it's all psychological.
It is indeed. And we've all been through our top 5.